Hello, warriors. Welcome to the You Movement. I am B. And today I want to talk a little bit about the solar plexus chakra. I've not talked an awful lot about this chakra center in comparison to other ones. I do have a chakra playlist. If you haven't gone into it, please feel free to go check it out. But I want to talk about this because this is what I perceive is clearing out, or more accurately, activated right now. So I am wearing some yellow. It's the only thing I actually wear that's just yellow to give me a little bit of the solar plexus vibe. And in my pocket, I have some calcite and I have some citron crystals to help me out here. Now, you may notice I am sitting here with wet hair, and that's because I'm just out of yet another cold shower. It's been over a month now that I have not had hot water. And I bring this up for a reason, because it ties in to the lessons of the solar plexus. At first, I was like, what is Spirit trying to teach me here? What is the secret meaning in this? Is it because I'm supposed to get in touch with my twin flame? No, that was incorrect. Wrong answer. Sometimes trying to translate Spirit is like trying to decode a mystery, because Spirit does not talk to you directly. Live and learn, live and learn. I think I have at this point discerned what is happening here. In other videos, I've talked about the fuckeries. All those crazy things that go down on this awakening journey in your 3D reality that push you and prod you and test you in different ways. So I am being tested right now to stand in my personal power and stand in my truth and fight for my needs, communicate my needs. So the solar plexus, which is located right here in your diaphragm, when we get activated first and foremost on our Kundalini, what happens is Kundalini comes along and dumps it completely out. All the power that we once had there gets spilled on the floor. And there's a reason for that, because the power that we had was full of false egoic identity, right? So this is the home of ego. Ego lives right in here. And so many of us, like myself, used addictions and other coping mechanisms like overworking and people pleasing to try to get by in the world, to try to navigate in the world, to have a sense of power and sense of control in the world. So up here, I'm fine. Everything's great. Yeah, I'm good. I'm strong. I'm empowered. But was I really? Nah. No, I wasn't, because I was reliant on a whole bunch of external things to give me strength. And on this awakening path, the Kundalini came and dumped it out, leaving me with a whole bunch of fear that I've been purging for the last 5 years. And my biggest fears, well, I have many of them. Man, has this journey been full of fear. But one of my biggest fears is people. Dealing with people is very challenging, because we learn through the chakra system, if we're going to look at it from a chakra point of view, we learn how to navigate the world of people, starting in the root chakra that represents our family, our direct tribe. And while my own family was all kinds of fucked up, so I didn't learn healthy ways to communicate my needs and get my needs met. And if I did try to commute my needs, there would be consequences, or if I did try to commute my emotions, there would be consequences. So, a lot of the getting self-satisfied, getting your individual needs met was an impossibility. And then as you grow up and you move into the sacral or the sacral, depending on what country you're from, and you're starting to do interpersonal relationships. So the playground comes into play and you're starting to learn things like boundaries and what you like and what I don't like. But if you've already been debilitated in the root chakra, then you go onto the playground and you carry that debilitation with you. And so then you walk into schoolhood bullying, which I did because that was familiar energy to me. I was familiar with bully. So I had a bully at home and I went to the school and I found the closest bully and I was like, please love me, because if you love me, then I've proved to this other bully that I'm lovable, right? So we reenact our family dramas on the playground, and then we don't develop our own sense of self. So the age categories for these chakras are like 1 to 7, and then 7 to 14, and then boom, 14 to 21 is when we start to individuate. And if you've already, it's like Jenga, right? If you've already had problems with the root chakra and then problems with the sacral chakra, then you're going to have problems with this chakra. And so we find ways to help fill the void in any which way we can, so we can go out in the world and pretend that we've got our shit together and pretend that we're like functional humans, but we're not, because we're smoking and we're drinking and we're overworking and we're doing this and that, and we're having this dualistic power dynamic that is empath versus narcissist, all playing out in this chakra. And well, hands up if you resonate with having the experience of being in a power dynamic, which is narcissist empath, because the empath internalizes all of the shame living in here, internalizes all of the shame, and the narcissist externalizes all of the shame, pushes it on to the other person. So you're constantly in relationship, whether it be romantic or friendship or workplace, that is this power dynamic at play. And the empath is like, how do I get my needs met? I don't know. I'm going to like make myself smaller. I'm going to make myself less disruptive. I don't want to bother anybody. What can I do to serve you and help you and this, that, and the other? Where the narcissistic energy is like, just give me, give me, give me. And I don't give a crap about you, because I'm going to externalize all my shame and all my bad behavior onto you. Right? You're crazy. You don't see it right. You're too sensitive. Develop a thicker skin. I heard all of those things growing up, and in my marriage. And the empath is like, I'm trying. I don't know what else more I can do to like make this right. And I'm trying to problem solve it. I'm twisting myself into knots, and I'm going to just swallow down all the bullshit. So swallowing down is what we're digesting in our life. And like when my awakening began, one of my first ascension symptoms was nausea. Like I had nausea ad nauseum. I had a lot of nausea because I could no longer swallow down the reality that I was living, because it was so far out of alignment with my truth of who I was. At my core, on a soul level, my soul was like, no, we're not putting up with this anymore. And so I had to start learning, and it spurted out, kind of when we learn new skills like standing up for ourselves or creating boundaries or demanding that our needs get met, what happens is it's like a pendulum that swings, and sometimes it's going to swing way too far. So it first might come out like shouting, or it first might come out like, no, I don't, I remember that dinner table, and I first said, you can't speak to me like that anymore. The chair went flying behind me as I stood up, as he was saying something mean, and everybody's cutlery dropped and looked at me, and I was like, because I wasn't used to being able to communicate from here. Okay, so throat chakra is about communicating, but it's really tied into what a good communicator feels rooted, feels grounded in their own sense of self and their own sense of truth, that they're not going to get rejected and there's not going to be a persecution that comes along with it. So in here lives the persecution wound. Am I allowed to speak, or is my speaking going to get me burned at the stake or diagnosed with some disorder or whatever else, because we all have past life memories of many persecutions for trying to speak our truth. So this is one of the things that we have to overcome. There's a lot of fear about living our truth, about living in honor. Okay, so our own sense of honor is our ability to stand up for ourselves, which comes from here, and speak out. So we're not curled in on ourselves. We're standing upright and we're got power here. This is our power center. And we can speak out and say, no, this isn't fair. This isn't just. It doesn't mean screaming it. Although, as I said, when we're learning to speak for ourselves, when we've been shut down all our lives, it might swing a little bit until we regulate into a place of calm. No. Just a calm no. A no is a complete sentence. We don't actually owe anybody any explanations of anything or justifications. So in the past, in this swinging pendulum, in trying to get my needs met, I used to do the autistic write down an essay of why my needs should get met. And that doesn't actually get your needs met because it's pleading. Right? That energy is an energy of please give me what I need. I need this. And these are the reasons why you should choose me and why you should love me and why you should respect me and why, and that never got my needs met. It certainly didn't. Long paragraphs. So one of my life's mission has been, since my awakening, is to learn how to speak clearly, concisely, and directly, so that I'm standing up for myself and communicating what I need. And so these fuckeries of situations come in to test me over and over and over again. I was tested with Toyota and I was like, I'm going to fight for you. Ripped me off and sold me a warranty that was useless. You put a warranty on 6-year-old tires that couldn't be warranted. So when the tire had a problem, the warranty people were like, yeah, we're not covering that. So it was a scam. And I called them out on the scam. And I wrote a Google review because I'm learning to speak. And so maybe one of the things you're going to be tested to do is to write a negative Google review. Do it. It's a spiritual lesson. If you can get over that fear of, oh my God, what are people going to think? Am I going to get in trouble? Is somebody come knocking on my door and get mad at me? Yeah, I used to have that fear when I made a bad Google review about Twin Springs cottage and condo community. I was terrified, but I did it anyways. Because we're clearing out the fear and we're speaking up for ourselves. So here I am, over a month with no hot water. And I'm like, I don't want to have to deal with this. I don't want stress. Why can't I just live my life peacefully? Since I got here, there has been one plumbing problem after another. So the last thing I want to do is be irritating to my landlords. But at the same point, I need hot water. It's kind of like a necessity. At first, my pipes were frozen, and then they thawed, and then there was air in the pipe system, and then they were spitting, and then the faucet didn't work, and then there was a propane leak, and then, so it's been kind of one thing after another. And so there's a valve or something. I've had, at this stage, 3 different people come and look at it, and there's a valve that's missing, and they said, yeah, we're going to get you this valve. And then there was a delay in getting the wrong part, and they were supposed to show up today, and they didn't. And I was like, oh, damn. Now here we go again. So in that moment, I had to get in touch with the plumber because I'm now negotiating time of when they can come. They didn't get back in touch with me, which meant I had to reach out to the landlord. And I'm like, I need to know when the plumbing is getting fixed so I can make a schedule for myself. Like very basic. And at the same time, deal with my own emotions that are coming up because it's triggering the inner child wounds that say, when I speak up, there is negative consequence. So my child mind, my trauma mind, the hypervigilance is, if I make a fuss, I am going to have to move again. I don't want to move again. I know I'm going to have to move again eventually, but like my nervous system likes the environment here. And I'm just settled. I moved like 3 times last year and my nervous system is shot. So I like the environment here and I don't want to do anything to disrupt that. So I'm like, okay, I have to figure out a way to stand in my personal power, speak my truth, so that I get my needs of, I have needs of hot water. I have needs of communication that require knowing when somebody's going to come so that I don't have a client at the same time. So basic things, and this is a challenge for me. And this is the energy that we've been in, is certain things are going to be testing us, okay? And so a lot of stuff is coming up in the collective consciousness, not just me, right now, about solar plexus energy. So this can show up like 3 days ago, feeling pride for the first time. Pride is solar plexus. Hey, I'm feeling proud. I accomplished something. I did something. And then the next day I slipped into, this sucks. I have nobody to celebrate my accomplishment with. I am so individuated. I am on my own. And then it's like remembering all of the times that I wasn't celebrated for the successes that I made. And then it's swinging into another, like, as I said, fuckery with the plumbing. And it's like, okay, so we're up and down in this energy that's clearing out old programming that says I'm not deserving of having my needs met, whether those needs are a celebration of your successes or your living situations, your life situations, your romantic situations, your family situations, whatever it is, interpersonal skills. So right now, it's about how are you relating with other people in the 3D matrix and surviving that so that we can ultimately transmute out the persecution wound, clear that out, and stand in our CEO era. Okay, that's what I'm going to call it. Like right now, I'm in my wilderness era, my hermit era, and spirit is testing me through connection with other people to be in my CEO era, right? This energy center needs to be activated fully online, empowered for us all as light workers to go out in the world. That's what integration is. We're not allowed to stay in our hermit mode forever. That has served a purpose as a purification place for our emotional center. So first we needed to get grounded, and then we needed to purify our emotions so that when we go out and we deal with people and have to, whatever it is, negotiating at a car dealership or negotiating with the landlord or negotiating with a spouse, when we are in those relationships, we don't lose ourselves. We honor ourselves in the world because we stand in truth, integrity, and hold our power and say, okay, I can survive in this world. I can stand up for myself in this world, in those energies, and communicate clearly in that. Okay. And so then we next move into mission more and more, where we're going out in the world and like dealing with people as an individuated person. We're no longer in the toxic a dysfunctional codependent style of relating in the world, which was like a poorly formed sacral, that's been cleared out. The codependency is cleared out, which is why we needed to be alone and isolated. And now we're being tested to move into the next energy, which is, okay, you've mastered being alone. Now master what it is to interact with other humans. And it's challenging. It's very challenging because our trauma mind says, if I do these things, I am going to get negative consequence. But what happens is we have new experience and we're like, wait, what? This didn't blow up in my face. I don't have to move. People respect me. You know, like when I posted what I had accomplished and gone to this festival, substance free, all of a sudden I'm getting from other humans, strangers, and new friends, I'm so proud of you. That's amazing. You did it. And I was like, wait, what? This is new. I'm not used to this. When I reached out to the plumber, I got, oh, I'm really sorry. I couldn't get in touch with you. I'll be there tomorrow. And I'm like, wait, what? You know, I didn't get defensiveness. I didn't get reactionary abuse. When I reached out to the landlord, I didn't get defensiveness. I didn't get like an argument because I'm communicating from a new place myself and they're reacting from their own. But even if I had got from some other people defensiveness or argumentativeness, we can see it now and go, okay, no, I am not going to communicate like that. That's not how I choose to communicate anymore. So this is getting online to give us the ability to say, this is my boundary, right? So that we learned some boundaries down here and we've been practicing those. And now we're going out and putting them into like practical application of, I'm sorry, I can't do that. I can't show up for you right now. I had somebody, you know, come into my DM and dropped a huge thing. And I said, listen, if you want to book with me, that's great, but I can't counsel you via DMs. Okay, that's not what I do. And I didn't get emotional about it. And I wasn't, oh, I'm so sorry. No, I just simply stated what it was without emotion involved. And, you know, I'm still learning. I'm still in the learning curve because I still have emotion when it comes to like this hot water thing, but I'm not expressing from it. I'm not expressing myself from the emotion. I'm expressing myself just from the facts. I'll deal with my own emotions. I'm really good at that now. I'm not putting my emotions onto somebody else. They're nobody else's responsibility except for my own. It's like we have to be in the CEO era managing multiple things at the same time, multiple departments. That is us. So we have one department called the emotion department, and we're like, okay, we'll manage that. Okay, that's a separate department from our management of the fuckeries and dealing with what needs to be done with and the communication with outside sources. Our communication center, that's a different department. So we have to have multiple roles and overseeing multiple departments in our CEO era that says, okay, integrity is going to show up. I'm not going to put my emotions into this department. There's no crossover. I'm going to deal with my emotions. My emotions are valid. My emotions are reasonable, but that's not going to help me in this department over here. Okay. So where we've had problems in the past is having crossover of departments, thinking that if I emotionally appeal to somebody in the outer world, that they're going to like hear us. And that's not their job. That's where a lot of defensiveness comes in. Instead, we simply need to state, this is what I need. I need to know when the plumber's going to arrive so that I can make my schedule. And it diffuses difficult situations when you're not blending the two departments together. And when you are clear of what works for you and what doesn't work for you in your individuated state, and you're honoring yourself, you can lay down, and this happened this week in group, is, there was one person said, no, I don't like the way you're communicating to me, because somebody else was giving advice instead of listening. Right. And so that became a next point of discussion of saying, this is what I need. I need to be heard right now, not advised upon. And we are learning as this area opens more and becomes greater empowered to say clearly our truth so that we can act in the world from a place of truth, honor, integrity, power. Collapsing the power dynamic, which is giving too much of ourselves away, disempowering ourselves, and the other opposite end of being overpowering and over-controlling, right? So we need to come to a place of neutrality in all of our chakras. So an overly abundant solar plexus is controlling, demanding, and an under is the I'm sorry, people pleasing, fawning. So there needs to be a blend of these energies. And I actually heard somebody say recently that an empath needs more narcissistic energy. And in a way, they're kind of right. In a way, I don't agree that it's necessarily, you don't necessarily want to use the narcissist part of the equation, because that to me is negative entities, and you don't want that. But the characteristics that are self-absorption, yes, you actually, an empath does need to become more self-obsessed to a certain extent. That's not to say that you become fully only self-obsessed, but it means you need to start putting self first. Like when you're on an airplane and the little masks drop, they always say, make sure you put your mask on first. So if you're always negating self for others, you need to learn to put self first. You need to love yourself first. You need to value self first. You need to see your own self-worth. You need to do all the self-work. It's what this journey is all about, is taking some of those energies and giving them to you for the first time, because you may have been raised in an environment where you weren't valued, you weren't shown self-worth, you weren't celebrated, you weren't allowed to have pride, you were put down for those types of things, and those were inversions. So we need to take back the power, as the saying goes, and not let others have power over us, but navigate through the world by these crazy life lessons. There are these fuckeries, and whether it's like continual plumbing problems or any other problems that you're going through, just look at it as this is yet another test. What is it testing me? And if you think it's testing you to get in touch with your twin, it's not. Maybe it is. I don't know. It wasn't for me. Solar plexus is about reclaiming your ego in a healthy way. There's a lot of destruction of the ego on this path, but you do need an ego. You do need your ego to be in the passenger seat beside you. So I always look at it from like Carl Jung's archetypical energies or internal family systems, that you're not driving a big bus and you want your highest self, your soul self, to be the driver of the bus, but you need to have your ego beside you, helping you navigate so that you can stand up for yourself. So this is kind of maybe the redevelopment of ego after we've been through the collapse of ego over and over and over and over and over again, right? Is the ego learning that, okay, we're going to stand in integrity and stand up for ourselves even when everyone else around us is disagreeing with us. We're going to call out injustice even If that means that we're not going to be well liked, we're going to call the landlord and make a complaint as best we can when we're not getting our needs met, that like fundamentally you need hot water to live. We're going to stand up for ourselves. We're going to write a negative Google review if that is something that you're called to do. And remember, when we do things like that, many people make decisions based on Google reviews, and I do read negative Google reviews. So as intimidated and scared as I was to write those 2 really horrible Google reviews, I'm sure it's helped somebody. If I have saved somebody from investing at Twin Springs Condos and Community, whatever they want to call themselves, then I've done a good Samaritan act. So sometimes saying something negative is a necessary part of honoring yourself. We can't be positive, high vibes all the time. That's not authentic, okay? That's not even high vibes. That's bullshit, is what that is. We need to be true to ourselves. Learning some self-esteem, learning some self-value, and learning our own self-worth at the present moment in time, and learning to stand in our power. And I'm thinking of that song from the 1990s, We Got the Power. Yeah. I'm sending all of you guys out there lots of love and understanding if right now you're being challenged to stand up for yourself and speak from that place that says, I want a divorce. Don't speak to me like that. No, I quit. These are action steps that come from here, because what here is like discomfort, rage, disgust. These kinds of energies, you feel nauseous, you feel like you want to vomit, it's because you're not happy. You can't digest what is unpleasant, what is disgusting, right? Like you smell something gross, you're like, that's gross. And so when you have a gross situation, you're like, no, I can't. So we're going to learn to be no. Calmly, rationally. Go to a rage room to smash some plates if you need to get the rage out, because underneath the rage is hiding some disgust, and it's hiding something that you don't want to be in anymore. Those energies are there to help you move. And I don't want to move necessarily, but I will have to if, it doesn't get resolved. But I'm going to first test myself to move myself into a greater degree of CEO-ness. A CEO isn't scared to call a plumber or call a landlord and just simply state the facts. Stick to the facts. That's my job at the present moment in time. I'm curious if you guys are in the same energy and you're being tested in power. Let me know. We're coming up to this 8-8 portal. We've just switched the nodes. Chiron, the wounded healer, is in retrograde. We've got Saturn in retrograde. We got a lot of energies at play right now, which is saying, you can't live like you used to live. You can't do what you used to do. And what I used to do was be like terrified and scared to stand up for myself. And I just can't do that anymore. I just can't do it. So this is the new me, the new B, and I'm doing new things, going places sober, speaking up for myself rationally without gigantic paragraphs pleading for people's from an emotional point of view. I'm learning to speak not from emotions, but from action-oriented needs. That's new. That's new, and it's going to continue to be doing new things. We can't be new people doing the old things. That the old me is dead. She died lots of times over. So I'm sending everybody lots of love. If you are struggling and you need a one-on-one, hop on to theumovement.com and book with me. If you want to join the Spiritual Warrior support groups, Wednesday, Fridays, we got the groups going down, and you can share what you're going through in those for a small donation, please, and thank you. With that all said, peace. Peace in.